Yo, what's going on, guys? Cool here. Today, we're going to be talking about a Roblox game, which I haven't made Roblox content in a minute, but I really enjoy this game, and I think that a lot of people give it a bad rap because they don't understand how the game is supposed to work. And the game developers themselves are working on the game, so like they're making changes all the time. So I think that it would be pretty cool if I made like a new player guide on this game, so to speak, to get more people interested in Summon Heroes. Summon Heroes is a Roblox game where you're able to actually summon a party of heroes, as in a party of three, and you kind of just build heroes up as you go. And they also have PvE to PvP, multiplayer, all that stuff. And honestly, they've been dropping content pretty frequently, and they actually have a lot of characters that are based off of other characters in media, or I would say like referenced, so to speak, such as the Demon Hunter, which is based off of Dante, or what do you call it, Yasuo, the Wind Samurai. It's pretty cool. They also just added this little tank girl for what do you call it, for the April Fools. So I don't know why this is kind of like a single update, but honestly, I haven't tried her out yet. I got to try her out. If you guys want to see more content, though, just let me know down below. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. This is going to be on my second channel, so it's kind of where I want to put all my Roblox content now. So let's get into it. First things first, whenever you actually start the game, you'll have two currencies. You'll have gold and you'll have gems. The difference is you won't be able to do much with your gems and stuff yet. Like they kind of like level lock you at level 10. So what you kind of want to do is focus on moving past the story. And if we talk about story in general and what you actually get from doing the story, there's two different rewards. There's the first time rewards that you get, and then there's the rewards that you could get daily. So every day you'll be able to get you complete a stage 5 times, you'll be able to get the rewards from that 5 times, which is pretty cool. It means you'll be able to get 250 gems every single day just from each level alone. And if you haven't gotten the 250 gems from the first time rewards, then you'll keep on going and going and going. Also, there is some stuff such as the fusion crystals, which you're going to get passively as you play the game. And then there's also the EXP in the game, which you get for other characters that you are going to be working on. And the thing is, you're only going to have EXP for other characters that you're going to be working on, not EXP as in for characters that you have already. And I'm going to explain why right now. As you kind of get further and further into the game, your characters are actually going to level up with you at the exact same time as your player level will go up. So, for instance, I just got level 120 across the board for these guys because they actually leveled up with me along the way. And I had some characters that leveled up with me, such as Yasuo, which I took to level 99, until I got, David Martinez. I would call him that because he's literally based off of David from Cyberpunk. Frame rate, needs a buff. He really needs a freaking buff really bad because he doesn't do much. Hence why I had to drop him, and I actually started working with this one, which is the Cyber DJ. Now, I'm going to talk about rarities and stuff like that and how those kind of work, but you'll notice that level is going to be the most important thing in the game. If you're ever struggling, you could actually replay the stage, even if you already ran out of daily rewards or rewards in general for the stage. You'll still be able to get the maximum amount of EXP for completing the stage or even losing on stages, which is pretty cool. I do think that the food system does need a buff, but of course, I digress. Let's talk about characters, what characters you want to get and stuff like that, and how do the banners work. So, for instance, the banners themselves, you have two different banners here. Each one changes every 30 minutes, which is pretty cool. I do like the fact that they do change every 30 minutes, and they're pretty quick at that. They also have one banner called the Mythic Pack, and this one, using mythical shards, which you get from many things in the game, will guarantee you a mythic through this one summon, and you'll be able to get one of the two mythics from this specifically. Now, there are other mythics such as the Reaper and other ones like the Archangel, which you won't be able to get unless you get it from RNG, but it's going to be like that until they actually implement different systems and stuff like that. I'm guessing they're going to maybe switch them out, but we'll have to see later on. Now, with that being the case, they do have a few things you could do here, such as skipping the summon sequence, auto-selling the units, and I would recommend auto-selling your rare units because now we're going to talk about character progression. Now, character progression comes in two different batches, one being the character level and the other one being the character stats. Now, you might be like, okay, what's the difference between the character level and the character stats? Well, a lot of characters don't have really significant stats unless you actually do stat rolls. Now, for instance, I have the Demon Hunter here, and I also have this guy here. So B level stats are actually the B level stats across the board, and these are like all the base stats. But you could go up to X. So it goes from A, S, X, and then X is the highest possible stat with the best modifiers in the game. And the way you would do this is you would be able to lock, and you will get a lot of gold as you play the game, but you'll be able to lock and then kind of move on to getting better stats. For instance, some stats matter a lot more on some characters than other characters. I'm only going to do this a couple of times just to kind of showcase what it would look like. You can kind of go back and forth and see how you feel about it. And let's say you don't get lucky, you could retain the original stats and just keep those if you don't feel like any of these tickle your fancy. But let's talk about like what stats are actually going to matter for each character right now. So we're going to keep the current stats and just talk about stats in general for which ones are going to matter the most for each character. For instance, there's three types of characters. There's the far range character, the mid range character, and the close range character. Now, for instance, the close range character is going to need one of two things. That's going to be the attack and HP. These are the only two things you really need for these guys because HP is going to be the most important. If you could get an X stat on HP, then you'll never have to worry about them dying. Also, they'll get in front of every single enemy, even the bosses, so these guys won't get hit. That's going to be very important. Now, the other thing is, attack is going to be very important too because a lot of these dudes actually do a lot of good attack. And the only things I would not focus on as much is stuff like cooldowns because a lot of these like guys, they only need like HP first, and you kind of want your cooldowns and save your gold for other characters specifically because that 20% cooldown reduction is only going to work on characters like your mid-rangers and your long-range characters. Now, the reason why is because we're going to talk about what is needed for these damage dealers. One being attack. Attack is going to be the most important stat for your damage dealers, especially at range and cooldowns, because a lot of them have very powerful skills that allow them to do significant amount of damage from a far range. Same thing with your mid-rangers. The only difference is that with mid-rangers, especially in PvP, you're actually going to be in trouble if you don't have a lot of HP. So attack and HP and then back to cooldowns would be very necessary. Now, I didn't really mid-max any of these guys. The only one I did mid-max was probably David Martinez, frame rate, and that was getting his attack max, his HP maxed, his speed maxed. But you'll see he has a different speed compared to everyone else in the game. And this is two things that I just want to note as someone who actually focuses on close range versus far range, close range characters. Now, believe it or not, there's two different types. One, like Yasuo, who will instantly knock out and throw out a ability that will move forward ahead of him. But with David, he needs to be up close and personal because both of his skills, his passive skill and his active skill, both allow him to do a lot of damage up close. So he has to be fast. He's not really good right now, so to speak. And the reason why is because he's just, he gets stuck in place. So until they buff that, he's not going to be very good. But yeah, now that we talked about stats, we could talk about traits. Now, traits are the most expensive thing in the game in general. This is probably going to be the last thing you ever do to characters, and it's because traits are incredibly, incredibly rare to get. I mean, you have a 5% chance, sure, but to get these traits in general and not walk away with doo-doo and still have trait shards, not possible. Traits only come in batches, so you might get one trait from here, which is going to cost you 200 crystals. Also, always buy summon tickets. Or you'll get traits in general from codes or from PvP, which we'll talk about at the end. But you only get a certain amount, and then from dailies. Dailies being the most important way to get them because you get 3 to 4 from dailies, 1 from summoning, the other 3 from doing PvP. And trust me, you can do PvP as early as level 25, I believe. And that's a really great way to get traits. Now, leveling up is only going to matter whenever we actually start talking about characters that need it, such as characters that you already, like, let's say you're already max level, and you have a lot of food from doing a lot of the levels from farming gems, then you can put them onto your characters that will require food, and you'll be able to get them onto higher stats so you could actually help progress or work on a different type of team comp, maybe one for PvP. But the most important thing to really discuss here is going to be fusions. Now, every character could really come out on top. I'm going to be real. A lot of the characters have pretty significant stats across the board, such as my Demon Hunter, who is an epic character, still has decent stats compared to someone like my Technomancer, who does have decent stats, such as high attack, good skills. And same thing with my Cyber DJ, who does have a significant stats too. But if you really pay attention to that HP factor, this is where fusion really gets into the way. So, for instance, my HP right now is like 44.6k, and that's really good, but I need it to be a little higher. So what I need to do is I need to fuse up some little 4-stars, put 3 4-stars together on top of 1 4-star, you get a 5-star, and then we're going to turn this Cyber DJ into a mythic Cyber DJ, allowing me to get from 44,600 to get 48,400, also significantly boosting her stats across the board. Now, the only stats that won't really matter is mostly the cooldowns and the speed. Of course, you won't get much out of that, but now she's going to be very tanky, very strong. And just like my Technomancer, she's going to be ahead of the game and really being able to handle the bosses while my Demon Hunter does a lot of damage. This is just a great comp, honestly, and I can't wait to start working on my Tank Commander pretty soon because she is going to be wicked. I just can't wait. I just got her, but I was already working on other characters, man. I needed a tank. So you'll see a lot of people with stuff. But, like, how far do you really need to go? Getting a character to Mythic is pretty cool, but honestly, it really just depends on PvE and PvP whenever you start talking about beyond Mythic stars. So, for instance, a Mythic 1-star is going to be your average Mythic, because starting to like sell Mythics to get better Mythics is where it starts to get a little expensive. Also, not just expensive, but just in general, a lot of these players will keep it at 1-star, maybe 2 stars. 2 stars specifically so they could have the edge on PvP, which you'll see here. PvP does limit your characters at level 50, and this is the last game mode we're really going to talk about in terms of like stat boosting. And the reason why is because PvP shop is going to be the most important to actually get your hands on trait rerolls. This is the only, like, the best way to get like 5 trait rerolls is by AFK in PvP, because even if you lose, you get 1 token, and it's automatic, so you don't really need to do anything besides stay in the lobby. And it's really useful. Just 50 tokens, boom, and then this could reset every 10 minutes, and then you'll get so many trait rerolls. It's kind of like the end game for end games, I would say, but this is not where we kind of talk about progression, really, because honestly, there's other ways to also progress as well. I think that whenever we actually talk about progression in general, there is some other side content that will allow you to progress, but a lot of it is kind of semi-end game. And I'm going to talk about some of that right now. That being dungeons. Dungeons, you don't really touch, just for like the daily, gems, fusion gems right there. As you can see, daily gems. Mythic dungeon, you get the mythic shard, but mostly for the gems, 750 gems right there. And then that's that. And then after that, you kind of come over here, and this is the Nightmare Circus. You kill as many clowns as possible, jesters, and you get like an extra amount of gems, which if you're already like end game level, you'll probably also walk away with about 750 gems for your 3 tries. So you're walking away in total with about 1,500 gems just from doing these 2 events every day, and then that's kind of it. So, I mean, it's kind of there, but you're mostly going to be doing like EXP grinding, which is way more beneficial if you're actually just doing the story a lot, especially just pushing that story, getting the daily rewards from all that, and then moving on from there. That's kind of like where you see everybody at. Besides that, though, I don't really think that there's much I need to cover here because everything else we kind of just discussed. And I mean, we could talk about the unit index. That's the last thing I wanted to talk about, is just in general, if you go to your unit index, you could actually see what the skills are for every single one of your characters. It's just very useful to use. I'm gonna be real. This is like my favorite little thing they added, and this was a recent addition, so it was really cool to see. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take it easy and peace out. Yep.